Hey guys, welcome to the Jawas and Java podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the Star Wars video game universe. Past couple days, some new developments have come out with the Lucasfilms Games title taking over, just like we used to have the LucasArts. We're also got today, we got some new developments that Ubisoft is going to be making their own Star Wars video game. So there's a lot to talk about with that. Yeah, let's jump right into it. Guys, my name is Michael. This is my brother Stefan. So like I said, today we're going to be discussing the Star Wars gaming universe. As I said, Ubisoft has been making is starting to develop a new video game for Star Wars. So Steph, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I wanna start from the beginning. I want to start from the top, which is Monday, and then work our way to where we are now, because it's basically been one long trickling event. So on Monday, the StarWars.com official website announces Lucasfilm Games. I immediately texted you. We immediately reported on it. We dropped it. We spoke about it off screen because I was saying to you how I'm pretty sure this might just be a new home for all things Star Wars video games. So now Lucasfilms Games has this platform where all the Lego, Minecraft, Sims, EA, mobile, all of these games can basically have a home now. That's it. Nothing big, nothing life altering. I'm a huge video game fan, but I didn't take too much away from it. I was like, yeah, let's just move on. 24 hours later, Lucasfilms Games announces a Indiana Jones video game with Bethesda. And now that shook up the whole gaming universe. Because, first of all, I'm not the biggest Indiana Jones fan, but I know that this on paper, I'm sure, is a lot of people's dream video games. So they were thrilled. It was a huge, huge Lucasfilms Games move on the day after its existence, which actually made me my head was spinning all day yesterday. What's going to go on with the EA deal? Is this a little bit of a branching off of everything EA? You know, the EA deal is up in 2023. It was signed in 2013. It's up in 2023. So my big picture outlook on this was, is this starting to come to an end? Are we going to start seeing this unravel? But then once again, same thing with Monday. I was like, maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe that this has been in the works for a while. It just came out the day after Lucasfilm's Games. And then we have today. And today, the entire Star Wars gaming universe flipped upside down, did a full 180. Ubisoft comes out, says that they're working on an open world Star Wars game. That's all we know. That's what we know. But this is why this is huge, huge, huge news. Because the EA deal has to be coming to an end. No question about it. The EA deal has to be on its final days. 2021, 2022 might be it. We might get Battlefront 3. We might get Jedi Fallen Order 2 in the next 2 years, which I'm hoping for. I'm sure you're hoping for it too, because you play all these games as well. And then we're going to have to start moving on. My big question is, are we moving on completely from EA? EA is still going to be doing Battlefront 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 over the next 20 years, but Star Wars is doing its own thing? Or is that it completely? We're done, nipped in the bud, Jedi Fallen Order 2, and then we're on to the next thing. I mean, I'm really excited about it. I thought that the past decade with EA has just been okay. Mike, you want to jump in and speak on your past 10 years, 8 years, with EA?
I mean, I really enjoyed Jedi Fallen Order. I played it on Xbox. I recently got the PlayStation 5, and I've been dying to rebuy it and play it on PlayStation 5. just to replay the story, have a little bit of the same experience but different because there's different things you could do. I pretty much played the story, did a little bit, and then put it down and picked up some other video games after. So I know that I left off without really finish like 100%
Sure.
completing the
Yeah.
game, so I know
Mhm.
that there's going to be a lot more that I could dive into. So I loved Jedi Fallen Order. I loved everything about it. I loved the character. I loved the story. I loved the customization of the lightsabers was probably my favorite thing. And even that became so popular that they're getting a Cal Kestis lightsaber in Galaxy's Edge. So that just
Yeah.
shows,
Fallen Order
and
was a
that
hit. Yeah.
and that was all because of voting. So they did like a vote for Galaxy's Edge for the next hilt that people wanted, and it ended up being Cal Kestis, which is huge because it just shows the impact of a game when you had Qui-Gon, Ezra, those different lightsabers were also in the poll, and Cal Kestis beat all them for their favorite or the next hilt that they wanted to be able to purchase. So I loved the Jedi Fallen Order games. I remember this was a few years ago, I bought Battlefront 2. I picked it up, I played it for a little bit, and then I traded it in for something else.
Yeah.
Uh, I know I played like a decent amount of like a little bit of the story, and then I don't know if I don't really remember why, but I'm guessing that I just put it down and didn't pick it back up, so I traded it in for something else at the time. But I guess that just shows the impact on that how that game had me and how the other game, because I remember playing Jedi Fallen Order, and after like because you played it before I did, and every like cut scene and stuff, I was going crazy texting you, I can't believe this. I've even gone on YouTube and rewatched the cut scenes, like little movies, just to
Yeah. It's a
you know
fantastic game. I love that
to the
game.
point like I have my
I love
fingers crossed
Cal.
that Cal is jumping into the live action universe one day, even
Yeah.
if it's just for a little bit or something, because I really loved that game and I loved that story. So I know a lot of people, and even you mentioned, like, hopefully EA is going to part ways with Lucasfilms and with Star Wars. When it comes, I think we're going to obviously get Jedi Fallen Order 2, which I can't wait for. And I enjoyed the first game so much that I know I'll enjoy the second game. But then I'm guessing that maybe after that, we might part ways, or they just might be, testing the waters. And now that they have Lucas Games, they're going to have their hands all over the place and different developers developing different things. Because even though Battlefront 2 didn't do too much for me when I first played it, I know now sometimes I look at clips and I see they added some little patch fixes and
Yeah.
stuff like
People
that.
still play.
And
Those
yeah,
are like endless games.
and we spoke about the other day. We were like, why don't we should we buy it? Like it was like 20
Yeah.
bucks or something. We were like, should we
We were
just
bored.
buy
It was
it
like
just
a
to play?
Friday
Yeah.
night. Yeah.
Because I could imagine myself like even after this throwing it on the TV and playing a little bit, so
Yeah. And like,
there's definitely a big fan base for Battlefront 2. Like I said, I definitely I'm going to give it another test run. I could guarantee that. So
yeah, but like I said, I'm very curious to know if in this final stretch we could get Jedi Fallen Order 2 and it be the end of Cal Kestis. Because Jedi Fallen Order 2 could just be a two-part game series and it could be the end of Cal's story.
definitely could.
Or, and like I said, we can get Battlefront 3 in the next 2 years because there still is a window open. And supposedly, I mean, I don't know how great the sources are. It's everywhere
Mm-hmm.
that Battlefront 3 is deep in development and we could see Jedi Fallen Order 2 in 2022.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
want to pass that along as fact, but so many people have said this and so many good sources have said this that I'm 100% biting on it. I do believe that that's what's going on. It makes sense with the timeline. It makes sense for it to be the final hoorah for EA with Star Wars and their big games, and they're gonna sell a bunch of discs because everybody loves Fallen Order,
Mm-hmm.
and Battlefront 3 would have to resell itself on all the things people don't like about 1 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
which is still redeemable and all that stuff. And Squadrons, we did play Squadrons, and it was okay. Like I said, if I had to sum up
I
some,
liked Squadrons. It was I think it was a little cheaper than the other games. Like I
yeah,
think because it's a smaller
it
game.
retailed at $40 when it was
Yeah. So I know it was supposed to be a smaller game. It wasn't like it's this huge monstrous Star Wars games. It was kind of just like to
yeah,
fill a little bit of a void between video games. And it's cool. The
yeah,
graphics were really
it's okay, yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I know we
I
had
like the story,
Hera in the storyline, which was really cool.
yeah,
So there was a lot of different Easter eggs. Then there's also some customizable stuff that you could, change the bobblehead in the front of your ship and do some fun stuff. So it was good. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is my favorite game ever. I played it a few times, but
No, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
and I
I
would
think
play it again. Like
yeah, I think it's all of these games. I have nothing as an avid video game player besides Fallen Order. Fallen Order I love. I
yeah.
really do. I can't wait for the second one if it ends up happening.
Hmm.
But
I
everything
think
else
it definitely
just
is.
okay. I respect these games and all that stuff. But now moving on to the future, because now we have to go into the future after 2023. One big takeaway I had from today that actually made me really, really excited was the fact that there's still 2 years on the EA contract, and they're letting Ubisoft start to develop and write this next game. I thought that was very interesting.
Hmm.
I was under the impression that we would not know about a next Star Wars game, and this is why it blindsided me so aggressively. I didn't expect to know about the next Star Wars game after this EA contract if they were nipping it in the bud until 2023, 2024. So the fact that we found out about it 3 days after the announcement of Lucasfilm Games, 2 years left on the EA contract. It's only the second week in January, and we just found out that Ubisoft is getting this deal and working on an open world Star Wars game. So they're going to be way ahead of the curve. And this is a game that I would not have expected to receive until 2028, years
Hmm.
down the road, which now we might end up seeing 2020, late 2023, 2024, which is incredible, especially due to what this game could be. I mean, this game could be, the potential is through the roof. The developer that's making it, they do all the Assassin's Creed games, all the Tom Clancy games. I'm already seeing Assassin's Creed fan art, which is really, really funny. Like everybody's predicting, because what Assassin's Creed does is they just put Assassin's Creed and then whatever it is. It's not a
Hmm.
storied game anymore. So people are saying, oh, it could be Assassin's Creed Star Wars, Assassin's Creed, blah, 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 which is funny and all that stuff. But in terms of knowing what it's going to be, we really have no idea. All we know is that it's going to be an open world Ubisoft game, and I couldn't be more excited. I could not be more excited. That's the Star Wars game I want. I want a Star Wars game that, in terms of stature, can hold its own up against the best. And I don't think EA was putting out that content. I loved Fallen Order. I thought it was an unbelievable story. I think the other games are fine and they are what they are. But I think the Ubisoft open world game, just starting there, opens up this expectation that is through the roof and can be met. And what I mean by that is every single game that has been coming out, Breath of the Wild, Red Dead Redemption 2, all these games, the maps and the worlds and the immersiveness just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's possible that in 3, 4 years from now, we are seeing the biggest map in the history of video games, and it's a Star Wars planet or a Star Wars galaxy. And there's customizations and all this stuff that absolutely puts Jedi Fallen Order to bed. Like we love the Fallen Order customizations. I love that I can make my saber yellow and my hilt bronze. But we could see some really, really immersive, interesting worlds and planets, and the size and the customization and the characters could just be endless. And now, just to piggyback off that and have a little bit of fun with that, I would like to hear what, in your mind, if you could pick the open world, if you could pick the protagonist, if you could pick all that stuff, what would you have in mind? What would you like to see from this game that has expectations that it can't even meet? But I would like to hear that.
I mean, it's tough because we know nothing. Like it's not even like they said.
Oh yeah,
And Star Wars is so big. So like you could be a Jedi, you could be a Mandalorian, you could be you could be
you
a
could be a
good guy, a bad
scavenger.
guy,
You
you
could
could
be a
be a
scavenger on
scavenger,
Jakku.
you could
You
be
know,
anything. Like who knows? You could be we don't know. You could so especially like when we saw in Star Wars Squadrons where they're allowing you to like customize your character now, like when the game starts and it's not just like your Cal Kestis. You could pick male or you could pick female. You could pick
right?
human, or you could pick alien, or you could pick whatever. You could change the color of your skin to blue. There's so much customizable stuff now, and it's very cool. So you
Right.
could literally jump in there and make your person what you would want to be if you were in the Star Wars galaxy. So that's what I hope. That I really hope that we get a big customized palette where we can change our person in different species. I mean, I don't know. This is such a broad question because it's something we know nothing about. We don't even have like an idea if you like if it's going to be you can choose, or if you're a certain character. Like there was I know you mentioned something, you sent it to me a while ago when they talked about a Mandalorian video game.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
developer of God of War was tweeting about how, he had like a whole Twitter thread about how he wished a game existed that was an open world Mandalorian mission based game. So that's what you're referring to.
And I would take that game in a second. So,
Oh yeah.
you
Dream
know,
game.
so, and even if, how cool would it be if you could create your own character that's a Mandalorian character,
Mm-hmm.
and now you can totally customize your armor just the same way like people do all the time in real life, and now you can make whatever kind of armor you want, different logos, different stuff on the armor.
Yeah.
The person that's under the armor, you could customize them, voices, like it would just be, that would be awesome. And do missions, and then the as far as it goes with like the thing with Star Wars is it's a galaxy, and it's such a big galaxy. Even though in the Star Wars universe we kind of see these characters throughout the stories in different places, the galaxy is huge. And when you do a video game like this, I'd like to see different planets and be able to go to different planets opposed to just one, just because I think it limits you.
Yeah.
But it depends on the story. If you're going to do a few of these kind of games, and in each game you have a different planet, that's awesome too. And you get to really explore the planet, just like in Breath of the Wild, and in the Zelda game, you got to really explore the entire area.
Mm-hmm.
Like every nook and cranny, every bug, everything was like, you had a name, had it was a huge world. So if you're going to do one planet, I would like it like that. For which planet, it depends on the story. It's tough. Like there's just so many planets I would personally love to explore. Like throw me on Endor and let me go through the forest and see Ewoks, and you know what I mean. But
In
then
their
that's
natural habitat and stuff
exactly
like that. Yeah.
exactly hunting and doing stuff, and
Right. Right.
like in like I use this because this is like a big open world game that I've recently finished. But like the Breath of the Wild game, like when you were going through the world, you saw other species that were living on the island fighting off other animals or being hunted and stuff like that, and you can chime in and almost like save them or
Yeah.
let them die or whatever the situation was. So I think that would be pretty cool. um I guess we're gonna have to wait a little while and see more details, or who knows? Because tomorrow we could get more details. That's
Yeah, I
how the
mean
news
the
is
way they're
falling. So
flooding out, yeah, the way information's flooding out. But another thing I was thinking of, because my mind went right to customization also. Like I kind of want to be a Jedi, but where things get dicey in Star Wars, and it kind of was created by the fandom, is how everybody cares about canon. Therefore, the game's going to be canon.
is
So
it though? Do you think? I think that the
I don't
best.
know. I feel like everything's gonna be now. I feel like they only deemed things they like the only things that are gonna be non-canon are like things we know aren't. Like a
But when
Lego
you but
holiday special won't be.
if it is gonna be canon, then customizing your own character and all that stuff gets a little dicey.
That's what I was just gonna say, which is
So
why I think it's possible. Obviously, I'm making this up. We have no information. We're just having fun with this.
yeah.
That's why I was thinking that you would, if you were going to be, let's say you were going to be a Jedi, you would have to probably be like a lower ranked Jedi during the High Republic so that it's an untouched era and where there's thousands and thousands and thousands of Jedi now. So Jedis aren't unique. It's
Hmm.
not like there's three Jedi and
Makes sense.
they're Rey, Kylo, well, Force sensitive people, and they're on our screen during a movie. So that's why I think the Mandalorian theory would be really cool. I think like a lower ranked Jedi or just a Jedi during the High Republic era so that we could toy with the customizations and whatnot, or a Mandalorian, or who knows? It could be a rebel pilot. It could be an Imperial, Star Cruiser employee. Like, this is just so huge and so unique. And like I said, my expectations are so big because the map could just be out of control. It could be all these things. We could be walking around Tatooine, chatting with Jawas, as a scavenger, and it would just be mind blowing. So I
What if
think
you can make your character a Jawa? What if it's a Jawa video game? And you have and you just ruin things and you go
that's
around
it.
and you just
You
destroy
just
things
sell.
and sell parts and find droids. I mean,
You try to upsell. You try to oversell crappy
uh,
droids
I would
for
love that.
68 hours. Me too.
But in all seriousness, so besides this video game, what video game would you like to see now that this is just one entity of this, Lucasfilms games that we know about, but obviously we're going to get more games and they're going to be more diverse. You
That's what
know,
I'm yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that,
is there
like,
anything specific that you would like to see come out?
I mean, honestly, we're getting the game I wanted
Yeah.
to see. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, if I was to name a couple of styled games that I would like to see Star Wars make, because I want Star Wars to break through, it would be Star Wars open world RPG. I would want them to maybe get into the whole, like, battle royal kind of world. And not for me, I don't play games like that, but I'm just constantly rooting for Star Wars and for Star Wars to succeed. So I want them to break into all these universes
Hmm.
that I thought just weren't necessarily happening the past 10 years, because we are talking about one of the biggest franchises in entertainment. So
I mean,
for me,
I can't wait for Star Wars Legos to finally
oh,
release.
me too, me too.
And that just shows like I'll probably pick up anything Star Wars,
Yeah,
and Star Wars Legos are great games.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
had that
The
pre-ordered
Lego
for
games are
since
phenomenal.
yeah, I've had it pre-ordered since they announced the pre-order was
Yeah,
up and then they changed the date. So like that just shows like these video games are good,
yeah.
what we have right
There's a
now, but the
market for
potential for the
them.
new games are going to be
It's
insane.
not a matter of whether or not there's a market for them. The fact is whether or not these games are going to be good. And the game I want just got confirmed by Ubisoft a
Yeah.
few hours ago. So so I can't ask for much more. I really can't. I'm not that familiar now. I know about obviously I play Assassin's Creed. I play all those kind of games, but like the specific developers on this project that did the Division,
Mhm.
I'm not so familiar with them that I could sit here and say, oh my God, it's my dream developer. But we are off to a good start. If you asked me where I would have started at the end of EA, I promise you, I would have said open world game. Open world game. That's all I
Yeah.
want. That's all I would
And
want. I want a
and
mission based open world game. Maybe throw some more details in there. Like I said, I would love some customization and stuff like that. But whatever. That's where I would start, and that's where we're starting. So
and
I'm
I'm
really getting
thinking
catered to in this
I'm
one.
thinking back now to like some older games that we know were scrapped when when the whole uh Lucas Arts division kind of was taken
Mhm.
away, and then they scrapped a few games that were in development, and also they when before George Lucas sold Lucasfilms to Disney, they also had that live action TV show which was way ahead of its time, as we know now with the Mandalorian. So I mean, when I think about that, back to that stuff, first of all, I'm thinking about the live action TV show that George was in production with, that he has a lot of footage for, and I'm thinking about Coruscant and how it was supposed to take place on
Like the
in the city.
underground.
It was called, I believe it was called Star Wars Underworld, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So I would love to see Coruscant if they were just sticking to one
Me
planet,
too.
because I think Coruscant could be. I mean, if they did they were doing the series on it, so they know where they would be going. They kind of have like a background of the underworld,
Yeah,
and that would be
and
awesome.
that would remind me of like a Spider-Man PS4 and like Miles Morales, where the entire map is just New York. Imagine the entire map just being Coruscant,
Yeah.
which is basically a New York City except an entire planet.
And when we talk about the fact that like customization, there's the species are endless in Coruscant.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have humans, you have aliens of
it's a
all
diverse,
different
like I said, yeah.
species. Yeah. So
It's a very
like it's very
city-like
city.
neighborhood.
It's very city. So
Yeah,
that would
that would
make
be a
sense and it would
perfect
be
one
cool
planet
to be a
place.
civilian on Coruscant, or to be a character on whatever the situation is.
Someone force
And
sensitive
that's what I'm saying.
during
Yep.
the rise of the empire.
So that would be really cool. And also getting away from that game, when I this is something that just always been a dream for me ever since I heard that it was in development, was the Mole video game.
Yeah.
And they had that game going for a while, and then they scrapped it once they got rid of LucasArts. And could be biased because some people might not want it, and I always say that because I know that some people want things that sometimes I'm like, I wouldn't be interested in it. But the
Mhm.
Mole video game, if they revamp that with today's graphics and a storyline where we got to see, because there's a lot of Maul we didn't see. When we see him in Clone Wars, we see him in Rebels, but then we also saw him in that quick solo scene. So we know he's doing a lot in the background of the time that he's not on screen. So I would love a nice Maul story. I think that would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
just wishful
I
thinking.
wouldn't be I wouldn't be mad. Like I keep throwing around like, oh, customization, customization. I want to make my own character. I would not be mad at all if the main protagonist was a set in stone character within canon. I would not be mad at all if the main protagonist of the game was a young whatever, like a young Jedi that we now are going to find out about through canon, and then we could start creating stuff. Like like you said, if the main protagonist was Maul, who's one character we don't get to do anything with, I'd be fine with that. I'm not complaining about
What
anything.
if what if
I'm
you're a storm
ecstatic.
what if you're a stormtrooper doing missions?
Sure.
Right? Like
Anything.
you
Anything.
see the background of what the stormtroopers are going through, and then you get sent out on missions and you have to survive. Where you
Yeah.
also have the Empire, who really doesn't give a shit if you get blown up
Yeah.
or not. You know what I mean?
That's what I felt like Battlefront 2 did that with their storyline, where like
Mhm,
they tried to make Imperial sympathizer, which
mhm.
I remember when it was announced being like, holy crap, that is such a
The
good
first dark
idea.
side video game
Yeah, like that
was
is such
how
a
it
good
was being
idea
promoted.
to put it through the eyes of them, which almost makes the bad guy the good guy, and it obviously wasn't executed well.
Mhm.
So I would still love for that to be on the table, but with proper execution. Like put us in the mind of a stormtrooper that's just at work or whatever, a TIE fighter pilot, whatever the case is, someone who's just at work, someone who believes in this, someone who was born into this and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Star Wars, I can't. I'm super excited to just see. This year has just been crazy with all the announcements of the series and movies that are in production, and now that one thing that a lot of people were upset about was that Lucas Films didn't have that division of Lucas Arts anymore, and the
Mm,
video games, because there were some great video games when we were younger that we played, like the Bounty
sure,
Hunter games, and
sure.
the people. I see people petitioning all the time for Star Killer
Yeah.
and all these video games, and these were like originals back then. So to see that now, not only is the animated series, the movies, and the live action, and all of that coming to a big explosion for Star Wars fans, we're also getting now the video game aspects, the books. We
Yeah.
just got the High Republic. We're getting it's nonstop. It's
It's
every
nonstop. It's
we
nonstop.
we try to limit our videos to like a certain amount a week, and we try to promote stuff and figure out what we're going to talk about. But there's just so much
And this
Star
is a
Wars
slow
right now.
season. And this is a slow
Yeah,
season.
like Mandalorian
Mandalorian just
ends.
ended. We don't have
Mandalor
anything coming
uh,
out.
Mandalorian ends, and you think that, like, okay, that was our last big series for a while, and then they just keep throwing news at us that we
Yeah.
just can't ignore.
Yeah.
It's
And
insane.
it's not going to slow down. Like I said, it's not like they're going to halt development. Like Battlefront 3 and Fallen Order 2 will come out in the next 2 years.
Hmm.
Those games will come out by 2023. We
Of
just have
course.
this on the back burner that if you're a Star Wars fan, you're a video game fan like I am, you're a single player kind of guy, you can't wait for this. You can't wait for this open world Star Wars
And we
game. I
don't
don't
know
want
it. We don't know if the open world Star Wars game is going to be single, or you could play multiplayer. We
true.
don't know
Yeah,
if
of
they
course.
that
Of
that's another
course.
thing. And I think if they want to be smart about this with the way that games are, because like we enjoy single player games, we also like to jump on together and play a game here or there. But those are you can hit two major fan bases by making this a single player game and a multiplayer game.
Well, my whole thing is, which is why that what I want to see from the future of Lucasfilm Games is catering to both needs.
Hmm.
So I would rather this open world Ubisoft game be just a single player phenomenal game, and then they work on something separately that would cater to the need of an online streamer that plays multiplayer games.
Oh
I
yeah.
would like to find a balance between the two, which they kind of did that with Battlefront 2 and Fallen Order. I just think that Battlefront 2
I,
could be a version of that could be executed better.
I could just imagine that the if you do make like because you have these big games like Call of Duty and all these multiplayer games that are so big, Grand Theft Auto, all those games that people still play.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if me and you can create our own character, jump into this open world, play in this open world, and then have our friends who love video games? They might not be diehard Star Wars fans, but they might either enjoy Star Wars or just enjoy video games. And
Yeah.
now they're going to want this game because of the popularity, and they
Yeah,
can
that
jump in
give it
and we could
opens a
all
new
play
world.
together, and that also caters to non-Star Wars fans, which I always love
Yeah,
catering to because I love new fans. I love
me
I
too.
love the I'm a there's some fandoms that Star Wars was our thing since we were children, but there's other fandoms that we got turned on to as we grew up or somebody told us about, and we do that a lot with Star Wars with our friends and stuff where we try to not push Star Wars on them, but
Yeah.
get their mind into the Star Wars
Yeah.
universe,
That's
especially
why
now.
video games are so important. That's why video games are
Exactly.
so important because it will, if
This could bridge a big gap.
video games done properly brings in a whole new universe of
100%.
youth, of older fans. People play video games. If you come out with a phenomenal open world game that is hitting on all cylinders and has the biggest map ever, the best looking graphics, blah 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 blah, people are going to check it out. It doesn't matter if there's a Star Wars logo on it. Doesn't matter if there's an Assassin's Creed
Oh,
logo on it.
without a
Doesn't
doubt.
matter if there's a Zelda logo on it. People will check it out if it has the right traction to it. And that's what
Hmm.
I hope this is. I hope that this kicks down the door to the next to the next decade from 2023 to 2033 and make it a little bit different than the past decade we had.
Yep. No, I'm hoping we get some. We always talk about we don't like leaks, but when it comes to video games, I kind of like, especially something like this, like give me more information.
Sure, sure.
This is one of those situations where like I actually want not leaks, but more
We
information
might
so that
not
I
know
could.
though.
No, of
For
course
all
not.
we know,
But
Ubisoft just found out 2 days ago, and the
yeah,
only
it's pre-development,
decided this morning, hey, so you want to do a Jedi? I
Hmm.
guess we'll start there. We don't even know what they know. They might not know any more than we know right now, which is Ubisoft is getting a open world Star Wars game.
Well, everybody who's watching, please write in the comments some of your favorite Star Wars video games. Also, once in a while, my brother and I will jump on and stream some video games. So if you guys wanted to see us do that, let us know if that's something you guys would want us to continue doing. We used to do it a lot before we did the podcast, but then there's just been so much content that we've kind of steered away from it. But let us know in the comments what you love about the Star Wars video games, what you hope to see in the future Star Wars video games. And please don't forget to hit the like button on this video before you go. And please share the video because we have a lot of you guys supporting us, writing to us. And the more support we get, the more we get to grow and we get to give you good content. So please continue to do what you guys are doing. Continue to share with your friends. Join the Discord. Join, follow us on Instagram. Send our Instagram to your friends who are Star Wars fans or just turning into Star Wars, because a lot of our friends who watch the podcast or a lot of people message us and say, hey, I wasn't that into Star Wars, or I never saw Clone Wars, but then you guys said this, so now I'm super interested. I got to check it out. I didn't know that happened. So we just want the community to grow, and we want to be able to give you some good content. So subscribe, like, leave a comment, everything that you guys keep doing, and we'll see you next time. All right, Steph.
All right, thanks, guys.